Hey everybody, it's Glenn Depke from Depke Wellness, and we've been discussing your fundamentals of health. And if you remember, we were talking last week about nutrition as being one of the fundamentals of health, and we broke it down into three areas. One is digestion, two is food sensitivity, and three is based on what we're eating on a consistent basis. Now, what I want to discuss is the second aspect of nutrition as your fundamental of health, which is food sensitivity. I want to provide you the basics of this today so you can move forward with a little bit more knowledge and understanding of how this could be affecting you right now. Now, from a food sensitivity perspective, I always like to look at gluten as really the mother of all food sensitivity. Now, what's interesting with gluten specifically is gluten really could just be a genetic issue with gluten, which would then affect anything that has gluten in it. It would be wheat, barley, rye, spelt, Polish wheat, European wheat, and basically anything that would contain gluten. But there's a lot of people who really don't have that depth of an issue with gluten, but you still could be challenged with what I would refer to as Americanized wheat, which is basically not a gluten sensitivity, but it's a sensitivity to the wheat that is most regularly available to not only the United States, but also Canada. And these are forms of wheat that are deamatized, they're hybridized, they're stored in vats over long periods of time, so they tend to develop a lot of aflatoxins and molds. And basically, a lot of people are just sensitive to this Americanized wheat, which honestly, if you live in the United States or Canada, that means you're still basically going gluten-free. Now, outside of gluten, when you have a true gluten issue or an Americanized wheat issue, this can actually start to affect your immune system and create inflammatory states and basically create what is known as a dysregulated immune system, which then could start to recognize other foods that are similar in structural or molecularly and treat them as gluten. So these could be the cross-reactive foods. This could include non-gluten grains, dairy, rice, soy, eggs, coffee, actually the bean itself, and a host of other foods that are considered cross-reactive foods. And then from there, when now we have this whole cascade of food sensitivities, which are driving gut-brain immune connective issues, they're blowing out your stress hormone system, and now your immune system is so dysregulated and so weak, it could actually be even responding to what would normally be healthy foods. Like maybe yourself, you've had a test done in the past, and it tells you you're sensitive to like broccoli and avocado. Well, guess what? You shouldn't be sensitive to broccoli and avocado. And that's not a broccoli and avocado issue. That's an issue with a dysregulated immune system, a chronic inflammatory state, a weakened gut-brain immune connection, and stress hormones that just don't work well anymore. And to top all of this off, regardless of what level of food sensitivity you're dealing with, whether it be a deep genetic issue with gluten, or an Americanized wheat issue, or a cross-reactive food issue, or just an overall food sensitivity or allergy, about 86% of the people who are suffering with this, and this could be you right now, you're actually asymptomatic. So that's right, 86% of the people have these sensitivities. It's not like you eat the food, you feel terribly. So it's not as easy to understand yourself. And this is where testing comes in and becomes very important. And why this is so essential as your second level tied into nutrition from a fundamentals of health perspective is because if you have this food sensitivity, which is driving inflammation in your gut, and inhibiting proper function of your whole gut-brain immune system, you basically aren't absorbing your nutrients, so you could be eating very well and still basically be malnourished. So pay attention to this. I'll talk much deeper about this as time goes on, but at least now you have the basic understanding of what could be driving your own health issues tied into your level of food sensitivity. Thank you so much for your time, and I look forward to sharing more valuable information with you tomorrow. Bye-bye, everybody.